Alright, these matchups have been pre-drafted, so no draft fees. We are going to be moving right into the matches here. This is, of course, Backyard Brawl once again. Week 2. We have Feathers on red side, bottom half of your screen. Leethus, blue side, top half of your screen. Should be an interesting one. Looks like the first matchup is underway. It's going to be Feathers bringing out the Hakumen. And it's going to be Leethus with the Giovanna. So Giovanna we've not seen too much of. She basically has some good like on curve cards. She has a range 1 SPE. Not SPE. She has a range 1 kind of command grab at Norse Guard. And her game plan is basically to try to outstrike the opponent, outvalue the opponent economy-wise through the use of the CUA, action, strike, hit, draw 1. Oh, you know what? I don't think I actually posted the link in the Discord, so let's go ahead and do that there. We've also somehow been able to reach affiliates. Now I guess now we can make that sweet exceed money that I always kind of wanted to make. Just kidding, of course. And don't donate. Hakumen, a character we've seen before. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, I'm gonna keep saying it, but the Guilty Gear characters can be played against other seasons. So Hakumen, of course, not from Guilty Gear, from BlazBlue. And Feathers playing Hakumen is an interesting thing. I think he just recently picked up this character, if I'm not mistaken. Feathers, of course, more inclined to play those top tier characters. And by the looks of it, he's picked Hakumen, and then he's picked Anji, and he has picked Chip. Leethus has picked Nagoriyuki and Milia alongside the Giovanna. Not seen this matchup before, so it should be an interesting one. Hakumen at range 5 does have... range 4 does have an above curve option in the Gurren. I don't think this Giovanna has the same, but it's just going to be Feathers with the prep. Of course, Hakumen on front side doesn't really want to interact too much with the opponent. Or I think that's the style of Hakumen that Feathers plays. To be Giovanna spending 1 force to move to range 3. Range 3 options for Giovanna include the mid-speed option of Sepultura, which has a dodge on it and a sweep effect, with an after closer retreat one, and then the triple kick, which is on curve, which allows for card cycling as well. 5 power, not too bad. Hakumen, on the other hand, has Gurren on curve, Yanagi as a counterattack, and that's basically it. It's going to be Hakumen spending 1 force to move back to range 4, just dropping the Enma. Doubles on Tetsu in the gauge for Hakumen early. You don't generally like to see your double options in the gauge early if you're Hakumen, just because you're bleeding cannon for a little bit. But it's going to be Giovanna spending the slash to move to range 1. Says, you will interact with me at some point. Back to Feathers here. Feathers going to go ahead and boost defend. That's +1 armor, +3 guard. Takes focus and puts it into a gauge. That's always nice because, of course, Hakumen on backside can recur his cards and will maybe recur reading. So we Giovanna striking with her action. So she has hit draw 1. Wouldn't be surprised to see Feathers respond to something like an assault here. So maybe Giovanna's crossing out. Assault's generally like the normal that you pair defend with the most at range 1, I feel like. Although it could just be a slow or something that doesn't necessarily benefit from the stats on defend anyway. It's actually going to be Hakumen with the Renka. So Renka will go first. Hakumen must spend a gauge. So this is the downside of playing Hakumen specials on front sides, that you generally have to spend gauge. So Hakumen spends 1 gauge, pushes Giovanna 2. It's going to be 4 total damage. And the sweep will hit back for 4 as well, because Hakumen has 2 armor. Giovanna draws a card, Hakumen loses a card. Hakumen loses that Yanagi. And Giovanna, of course, draws a card via the UA. that she has. Back to Hawkman here at range 3. Could set up range 3 mix-up, but I don't think Hawkman's going to be striking here. And yeah, it's going to be Hawkman boosting +2 speed. +2 speed is pretty difficult for a lot of Season 7 characters to contest with unless they have Ukemi in hand, of course. Of course, the Season 7 normal boosts are different from Seasons 1 through 5. So Light, of course, is no longer printed on... or +2 speed is no longer printed on most characters. And definitely not on the normals. So it's a little bit difficult to contest for a lot of Season 7 characters. They have to move in, or... Of course, if they have the Ukemi, then they have the Ukemi, right? But sometimes they have to move in, etc., etc. Let's actually open the chat on my phone, make sure I'm not missing anything. It's going to be Giovanna initiating a strike into this. Wow. I will say that's not something I expected. It's Giovanna initiating a range 3 option. She just initiates focus. Hawkman goes for the assault. Was down 1 spike. So the Hawkman will go first, hit for 2 after armor. Giovanna will hit back for 4 and draw 2 off it. So good read there. That's good read there. That Hawkman did not have the dive or the spike. Anyways, just me Hawkman prepping. Back to Giovanna here. As for some reason, Twitch has logged me off my phone, so I have to redo that. Hopefully no one's speaking in the chat too much, or if you are, your questions are answered. It's gonna be a scramble cancel. Oh no. Hawkman wild swings the Shibu. So if Hawkman takes that, that's gonna be 8 damage to Giovanna. Giovanna will deal only 2. It looks like Hawkman is gonna be taking that trade. Early Shibu means it's gonna be more difficult for Hawkman to exceed before he flips. Or before he reshuffles, excuse me. But, I mean, hey, you take that 8 damage any day, I think. And you're only taking 2 in response. So very, very good trade there for Hawkman, obviously, health totals-wise. Giovanna does gain an advantage and does draw a card off it. But is now losing as far as health totals are concerned. I will say, unfortunately, I might have to leave you guys alone without commentary for a bit. I am expecting a phone call. It's going to be Giovanna initiating another strike here at range 1. And nobody, she does have a range 1 ignore guard option, the Soul Pente. So it's always an option that you have to be worried, you have to be concerned about if you're Hawkman here. It's me Hawkman just playing block, and it's me Giovanna actually just crossing out. Okay. So it's me 3 total damage to Hawkman incoming. Hawkman looks like he's just going to take the 1. And build gauge number 4. Giovanna draws a card as well. Of course, Hawkman probably totally okay, just chilling at this range. And yeah, actually says range 4 is not far enough. Let me backstep all the way back to range 7. Builds gauge number 5. So Hawkman looking like so Giovanna obviously probably wants to be moving in here, lest Hawkman build too much free gauge. Speed Giovanna initiating a strike here. We're at range 7, so nothing hits. Right, nothing hits. Just could be maybe like a Troy Vial to move in, dive to move in as well. Both these options move in 3, and yeah, it's just gonna be the dive move into range 4. Of course we'll miss. Hawkman just builds another gauge with the block. That's going to be 6 gauge for Hawkman. 8 is the magic number for when Hawkman's gets to flip, and his gauge cost gets to be free. Although not the best looking side here. He does have 2 readings, I guess, which are nice. It's just going to be Hawkman prepping. Accidentally grabs a card from his hand. And pops a spike into gauge. Okay. So the thing about Hawkman is that he does have some option bleed, right? Because he's going through so many cards. Giovanna has 5 in hand, 17 in deck. Meanwhile, Hawkman has 6 in hand and 7 in deck. So options are a little bit starting to get a little bit known here, but it's not the end of the world. Back to Giovanna here at range 4. She has dive and she has Troy Vow. Troy Vow is basically a slow sweep. That hits 1 to 4. Or I guess it's a guarded dive, but hits 1 to 4 essentially. At speed 2. I think those are the only options that hit. And it's just Tempest State is also the fast option. Before advance 3 hit gain advantage for 1 gauge. So Sweep and Focus here are the good plays for Hawkman. And it's just going to be Hawkman playing Sweep. And it's going to be the Tempest State coming out for Giovanna. So that is going to be gauge number 8 for Hawkman. Giovanna takes 6 more damage, draws a card, then must discard a card at random. Drops a Soul Nascente, not the biggest deal in the world. Hawkman builds gauge number 8 and is up life. So things are looking pretty good here for Hawkman. On top of that, this positioning means that a card like Soul Puente does not work, right? Because you cannot advance past an opponent that is cornered. So that is one key option for Giovanna in this matchup, I think. That's just down, which is unfortunate, especially with both Foci and both blocks down. Like a lot of your armored options are down for Hawkman. Soul Puente performs really quite well, right? But it's unfortunately an option that Giovanna can no longer represent because Hawkman is taking the corner here. So good positioning there from Feathers, kind of negating that option. It's gonna be a faultless boost, canceled. Are we gonna see? Nope, just the one. Hawkman has a really good chance to counterattack here, right? Could be second cross, I guess. Move back to range 4. Only 2 gauge, so an option like Ventania is not up. Plus 4 guard kind of makes me think it's assault, but not 100% sure. It's gonna be Hawkman responding with the Shippu. Oh no, it's the Sepultura, and Sepultura's not gonna be able to get out of the way of the damage bonus of the Shippu. So Hawkman says, I don't need to exceed. Let me just play my good cards now. And it's gonna be Sepultura going first. Will hit for 2 after armor, and the Shippu will hit back for 8, putting Leethus on just 2 HP. That is brutal. Yeah, so sometimes Hawkman could just say, yeah, don't need to exceed to win the game. Let me just play my good ultras. And listen, when 2 copies of Shippu hit for 16 before you exceed, you take that any day. You take that every day of the week. That's going to be, of course, Sepultura putting Giovanna back to range 2. She will draw a card, but then will take 8 damage for her troubles, and does not gain advantage on that either. So it's back to Hawkman. Can Hawkman just close out the game right here? Hawkman still can technically exceed, which is funny. Although I don't think it's necessary. Notably, Giovanna still does have both copies of block up, I believe, so it does have some armor left in the deck, but at a huge life disadvantage. 7 cards. Okay, so that's gonna be Hawkman prepping once, puts the Enma into gauge. It's be gauge number 6 for Hawkman. Although at this point, I don't really think you care if you reshuffle before exceeding. It's going to be Badass Cancel Strike from Giovanna. Spike, maybe, just to get back into the game. On curve, triple kick. It's, well, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because Hawkman plays Ultra number 3, it's the Yukikaze. And of course, since Hawkman gets hit first, that +1 speed kind of screwing over Giovanna there a little bit, because Yukikaze just becomes free now, and the Yukikaze will hit back for, triple kick will hit for however much, and the Yukikaze is of course stun immune and will hit back for 6, and that's gonna be game number 1 going to Feathers in pretty good fashion. I mean, hitting 3 ultras on front side is not something we've seen a lot of Hawkman players do. I feel like a lot of Hawkman players wait for that exceed side. But definitely worked out well for him. Wow, yeah. Just Hawkman's counterattacks were too strong for Giovanna. The trades were really poor. Of course, double Shippu dealing 16 damage is definitely not something you want to see if you are Giovanna there. Yeah, just unable to contend with the counterattacks. But anyway, it's going to be game number 2. Leethus pulling out the Milia Rage. And it's going to be... And it's going to be Anji. So this is the first time we're seeing Anji. We've seen a ton of Milia, honestly. I feel like we see Milia every single time. Just a super, super solid character. And this is our first time we're seeing Anji, though. So Anji can spend a force. If he does, gets minus speed, but plus guard. On backside, it becomes plus 2 armor. So it becomes a little bit of a trading machine. We'll take a look at his cards here. He has like a fast dive-like, but also can function as a counterattack. Very interesting card. Obviously, like, can go down to 4 speed with the UA, right? We have Nagiha, which is mid-speed option, speed 4 with a retreat 2 on it. So kind of functions similarly to a slower cross. We have Ku, which is one of those like 2 to 5 cards, right? Because it doesn't actually hit at range 1 because you advance 3, and unless corners are involved, you advance past your minimum range. Or you advance past your maximum range, excuse me. So it's a 2 to 5 slow. Cards like PBJ, Start Ball Rising, Blast Jutsu, Spinning Bird Kick fit this archetype. We have a Rin, so we actually have a 1 to 2 SPD shape. That's actually a super good card, wow. We have a slow 2 to 4. With some evasion, but taking advantage on it. It's only 3 power, but of course can be bumped up to an acceptable delta with Anji's UA. We have Super Duper Sweep here. 1 to 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Hit draw 3, the opponent must discard 3 cards. Fun little card there. And we have Kachu Fugetsu Kai, which is a counterattack similar to Yukikaze, except it's speed 3. And of course you can die while using it. Also, notably, Anji has the season's only rating boost here, the Matsuri Rock Parade, which is pretty cool. Can also guarantee scrambles with Fuga as well. So definitely pretty strong character. It's pretty surprised to see this character being pulled out for the first time ever, but anyway. It's going to be Leethus bringing out the Milia. We've seen Milia 10,000 times. We saw Milia yesterday. I think this is being the 4th time I'm casting Milia or something ridiculous like that in 6 or so games. So very, very popular character. Very, very strong character as well. Just the card quality on Milia is absolutely insane. But it's going to be, it looks like Anji can be initiating a strike here at range 4. Again, the range 4 options are going to be the Shitsu, the Fujin, or the Dive. Sorry, what's the other one? Ku? The Ku. Touches is going to be Anji initiating block at range 4, and the Watswing Sweep not going to do it for Milia. So yeah, I think it looks like Feather's game plan is just going to be, I would assume it's exceed as quickly as possible, although this Ultra I think is really good and worth playing. Not sure about that one so much, but I think this Ultra just always gets you a lot of value. So let's see if Anji goes for rushing Exceed or rushing maybe that 3-gauge Ultra there. But it's going to be Leethus initiating strike now. Could be the Tandem Top. Could be the Swing Braid above curve. Could be the Iron Savior, which is the 1 to 5 sweep-like. Could just be Dive or Block as well, or Baits, right? So Milia with a lot of options here that she could be representing at range 4. Wouldn't be surprised if it's the Tandem Top, honestly. Tandem Top performs well into this card as well. And it is the Tandem Top, and it is the Fujin, just as we predicted. So the Fujin will go first. Will hit 4-3. And then the Tandem Top will hit back 4-3 as well. Milia will draw 2, and, well, first Anji moves into range 2. We'll draw 1, and then the Tandem Top will draw 2, and then Milia can choose to advance to range 1 or retreat back to range 4 in the corner. As Anji builds gauge number 2. Normally did not stun out the Fujin because the Fujin has 3 guard. So it does not get the effects of the UA that she has, which gives her a little bit of a bonus if her opponent is stunned. Okay, it's just going to be Feathers prepping. Gets up to a healthier hand size at 6. Back to Milia here. Milia at range 1. Just kind of has a low kick. Swing Braid as a mid-speed option to beat the slows. Bad Moon, I guess, although not really. And then the 1-5 sweep to catch cross. And it's going to be Leethus just setting a strike here. So it could be any of those options, although it could just be a normal as well. Anji can respond with a card like, I don't know, Nagiha to dodge something like a focus. Also has the Rin. But it's actually just going to be Anji playing focus, but it's the Swing Braid. So notably, Anji could not stop the Swing Braid on front side, but can stop the Swing Braid on backside by building armor. But it's going to be 1 total damage to Anji. Anji, of course, is stunned out. Milia with the UA will draw a card. Advances 2 as well on the play. Back to Anji. If Anji has cross, wouldn't be surprised if Anji just strikes with cross. Here, trying to if Feathers is in the mood to try to rush gauge, I think that's the play. And yeah, Feathers looking like he wants to initiate that, although it takes it back for now. Milia could have something like EX Cross Up or EX Bad Moon Up. Both options that you definitely don't want to see. Although Milia spending both Bad Moons would be pretty nice because, of course, Anji on backside builds armor instead of guard. So a little bit of a quirk of the matchup there. You want to be spending your Swing Braids early, and you want to be spending your Bad Moons late. After Anji exceeds, right? Because this option ignores our guard, and then this option ignores armor. Anyway, Feather's taking a little bit of a time here to decide what he wants to strike with. Looking at that Septum Voices, takes a look at his own card. Septum Voices is a 5-speed ultra that beats the likes of Spike by moving it, Dive by moving it, or Dive by stunning it, Spike by moving it, Sweep by moving it. Pretty decent ultra. Just gets a lot of value as well with the draw 1 and the sweep effect. Especially if you're able to stun the opponent and you draw 2. It's very, very good. Feather's really taking his time on this strike. Really taking a long time in this juncture. We're just at range 2, no boost in play, nothing. So I'm surprised to see Feathers take so long to make a decision here on how he wants to move forward. Finally initiates a strike here. Milia with a single card. It's actually going to be the Nagiha, that cross-like shape that we talked about, which has that dodge ability. We'll go first. We'll hit focus for 1 after armor. Focus will not be stunned. We'll draw a card. Nagiha retreats Anji back to range 4 and draws him 2 cards. It's going to be Milia now initiating a strike at range 4. It could be that Septum Voices above curve is an option to look out for. Anji just says no, I'm going to cross out. And it is the Septum Voices, so good call by Feathers here. Just moves out of the way. Milia spends all of her gauge, and Anji just says nope, out of there, back to range 6, where nothing hits. Feathers interestingly preps instead of exceeds, so maybe not going for the exceed now game plan, maybe looking at these ultras. Not bad choices at all. Especially the former, I think this card's really good. Milia at range 6, nothing hits for Milia, and nothing hits for Anji either. That comes close to hitting, but only goes 2 to 5. It's going to be Anji spending 3 force in the form of Spike and Winger to move to range 3. Back to Anji here. Anji with the range 3 mix-up, although Millia does have an above curve option. The Bad Moon, of course. Bad Moon notably beats all 3 of Assault, Dive, and Spike. Beats Spike by virtue of moving. It's going to be Anji exceeding, although Anji will have to draw 1 and strike on this trigger. Can spend 1 force for -1 speed, but +2 armor on the play. Although Bad Moon says hello. Right. Feather's checking his own discard pile, seeing what options are still up for him. It's very important to be cognizant of not only your opponent's options, but also your own options to see what kind of mix-ups you're threatening at certain junctures of the game, especially as we move later into the game, more cards are being spent. It's going to be Initiation with +2 armor on it. Millia just Wild Swings will go first with the Slash. Slash will hit for 2, and Sweep will hit back for 6 and drop a card as well. So that +2 armor already returning some dividends here for Feathers. Second Swing Braid drops for Millia. Back to Millia here. Millia just preps. Back up to 6. Now Anji's turn. Anji in the corner. Is this the place to be for Anji? I don't know. It's not particularly terrible to be in the corner, I feel like. There's no huge downside to being in the corner here for Anji, so maybe you're totally fine. Maybe the worst thing is your attacks get crossed out of, but Anji's a couple 1-4s. Right, Fujin performs as a cross catcher, as does the Ku. It's going to be the Let's Rock boosted. That's now draw 1. Hit +1 power, add this to your gauge as well. Back to Millia. Millia goes ahead and boosts before move 1, hit gain advantage. Cancels it and strikes. This is telegraphing something like a spike to me. If I had to guess. Right, before move 1, very peculiar at range 1 here, where you can't cross over the opponent. So it could be spike bait, but I don't know, it just feels like spike to me. Could, in theory, be something like a tandem top, which is functionally similar to a cross. That's a little bit slower and has some guard on it. Could be bait. Wonder if Anji performs a sick call out with a card like Slash. Slash would be 5 total power. Would stun out a spike here. With the Let's Rock boosted. It's gonna be Anji. It's gonna be Anji playing the Ko, but no, it is the Dust that we predicted. Anji plays Ku there and spends force on it as well. Ku is a card that trades with some stuff. but doesn't really beat a whole lot of options there, in my opinion. Doesn't really beat a whole lot of options there. It's only speed 2 as well when you use the UA. It's only speed 2. So it even just outright loses to sweep. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this Rin play here from Feathers. Not a big fan of that. I just feel like that's a low probability chance to hit. Maybe going for a read there, but the read does not work out. It is, in fact, the dust for Milia, which will do 5 and stun Anji out, of course. That's going to be the Let's Rock boosted for Milia. A little bit of extra card draw. Plus 1 power adds a gauge. A little bit of extra oomph on the next attack. Both bad moods still up for Leethus, notably. Which is a card that we definitely want to be pointing out with this kind of UA. Wonder, why does Anji have a kicker? Why does Anji have a kicker? I do not know. Like I said, the one weird thing about some of the characters is it just feels like they've assigned kickers at random, and I don't really know what the rhyme or reason behind it is. Maybe if someone maybe interesting to hear someone who's closer to the development team kind of explain why these kickers exist, but they just kind of feel like they've been just randomly sprinkled about. Like, I would not expect Anji to have a kicker, but he does. I don't know. Might have to ask someone about that. It's going to be Perry coming out here. Perry whiffs. We see a hand of 0-1, EX Bad Moon, low kick Iron Savior. EX Bad Moon is a pretty spooky option to have here. Anji can basically only beat it by sweeping, because a lot of Anji's cards actually don't have enough guard, right? And Anji kind of relies on armor. But in this particular matchup, EX Bad Moon is just a guaranteed damage. I mean, in all matchups, EX Bad Moon is just a guaranteed damage. But in this particular matchup, you just have to be sure. So yeah, like I said, Perry whiffs for Anji, who will draw a card at end of turn. Back to Milia here. Would not be surprised to see Milia just strike. Does exactly that. Bad Moon is 5 power here. Could be bait though. Could be like a tandem top. Who knows? Although Bad Moon, like I said, basically only loses sweep and focus. Nobody EX Bad Moon beats focus here, but Leethus only commits 1 card to the strike. It's gonna be Feathers playing the sweep, and it's actually just focus coming out here. So preserves the bad moons for a rainy day, which is of course great because sweep is one of those few options that beats or trades with the bad moon. So of course the sweep will go first. We'll hit for 4 after armor, and focus will hit back for 5, and that's a good pull. That's a really good pull for Feathers. Yoinks one of the bad moons out of the hands of Leethus. That's an extremely good pull there. If your Feathers, very good. Anyway, that was Leethus initiating strike, so it's now Feathers' turn. I don't know what Feathers is doing here. He's picking up his cards, putting it down. Nobi done both sweeps. So that just means Focus is the only card left that trades with Bad Moon in Feathers' deck with a +1 power Bad Moon. There are some cards with 4 guard here, like Coup. And I think there's another one, isn't there? No, apparently just Coup. Okay. And I guess this Sun Immune card as well, the Kai. The Kachu Fugetsu Kai. Performs similarly. Believe it's still Feather's turn here. Taking a little bit of time to decide what his next move would be. Looks like it's going to be the Fuga. Now look at the top card of the opponent's deck. Will be paired by a Scramble. What does not pair it with the Scramble? Wow. Okay, so that's a good card on top of Milia's deck. Of course, this kind of telegraphs that like Milia can just in theory just Wild Swing, but surprised not to see this paired with the Scramble. Scramble also is an option that will be Focus is an option that'll be useful later for Anji. Just as an option to trade with the Bad Moon should he need it. It's going to be Leethus with the parry here. Probably parries Focus. No, parries Reading. Parries the Kachu Fugetsu Kai. Or the Matsuri Rock Parade. Pretty important parry there. Definitely don't want to get random red in this season. Back 2 feathers here. So this looks like maybe a reshuffle action. Leethus checking the discard here. Feathers checking the discard here. Feathers has 5 in hand, 11 in deck. I don't think you want to reshuffle without those sweeps, though. Leethus with 6 in hand, 8 in deck. So Leethus actually starting to run out of options before Anji here. It's going to be an expenditure of 1, 2, 3, 4 force. Maybe big change cards. Surprised not to see a gauge option go there, but guess it wants to keep the threat of the Kai up. That's going to be a big change cards. Feather says, I don't like my hand at all. Puts them into the deck. By accident. Okay. Rectifies it. Puts them in there. Puts them where they belong in the discard. It's gonna be a second parry here for Leethus. Wonder if it's parrying the same card. It is. Parries the second copy of the Kachu Fugetsu Kai. No readings up for Anji now. Pretty smart parry usage here for Leethus for sure. It's be Anji boosting +4 guard. So now Anji can actually trade with Bad Moon. with a card like Flawless Defense Boosted. Back to Leethus here. Leethus decides to attack, or excuse me, Ukemi. Ukemi is the Fuga, interestingly. So keeps the +4 guard in play, but Ukemi is the Fuga. Could this be Spike number 2? Is that why that happened? Like, why does Amelia not care about a counterattack with +4 guard? Could it be that? Could it be perhaps just be Cross to run away? Says you're not building Gauge anyway. Nobody Feathers knows one more card than we do. In Leethus' hand. Because of course he peaked courtesy of the Fuga. So I wonder if this is just Cross. No 1 to 5 options here. Oh wait, 10 outside of that, but that's down. Yeah, no 1 to 5 options. Oh, actually the Coup catches things. Huh, the Coup catches Cross at range 2. So I guess Cross Dust to mix up here for Amelia. Could also be something like a Tandem Top, which performs similarly to Cross. What could this be? Feather's taking a while to decide what this could be. Maybe there is an actual mix-up in Leethus' hand. Leethus with 4 in hand, 7 in deck. It's going to be Anji spending 2 force, playing the Fujin. Or spending 1 force playing the Fujin. And it's the Iron Savior. Oh, so the Fujin will go first. We'll hit for 1. We'll draw 1, gain advantage. And the Iron Savior will hit back for... yeah. So the Fujin will go first, hit for 3. And the Iron Savior will hit back also for 3. Anji's not stunned, so Millie does not get the after here or the after here. Back to Anji here. Anji with 4 in deck, 4 in hand, 3 in deck. Reshuffle should be coming shortly. Although into Season 7, hand reveal is not as deadly as it is into earlier seasons, because of course Season 7 does not have access to reading outside of Anji. So you're actually not too concerned about revealing your hand. You're just revealing options that you have. But you don't have to get rid of those normals. Normals don't spell instant combat loss with reading, right? Because reading, of course, does not exist in Season 7. Looks like it's going to be Anji setting a strike here. Spends a Gauge's Force for +2 armor and -1 speed. Not a whole lot of options on what this could be. Mind it's 4 in hand, 3 in deck for Anji, so... Leethus probably should be card counting here. Just to see what options are up. Leethus just goes for the Wild Swing, though. Leethus Wild Swing's Cross. Will deal 1 damage to the Rin, and the Rin, of course, is the SPD shape. And that will miss. It only hits 1 to 2. Ooh. At least Feathers does get 2 armor out of that once more. I think Feathers has built total like 6 or 8 armor so far this game with the UA. Definitely not bad at all, having 38 HP. Milia back to range 4. Card like Tandem Top is nigh unbeatable. With both copies of Fujin down. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Milia just strike with a Tandem Top here. It's like free. Maybe force Anji to spend a gauge to build armor as well. And it looks like Leethus is striking, yeah, with just that Tandem Top. Could be dive. Don't think it's dive, but could be dive. And there's no way for Anji to catch the Tandem Top. Okay. Feathers plays Nagiha, maybe thinking that it may be hatching his bets against dive. It is the Tandem Top. Tandem Top will go first. Will hit for nothing. Nagiha will at least draw Feathers cards. Maybe that's why he played it. Just draw 2 cards. Both players draw 2 cards. Milia builds Gauge, but doesn't actually deal any damage. Does Milia want to stay at range 4 is the only question, or want to move back to range 6? Says, I'm going to move back to range 6. And of course, Anji misses, but does not take any damage, courtesy of the 3 armor of the Nagiha and the UA. Notably, range 6, neither player can hit. But Leethus has a ton of gauge to cancel. Perhaps something like a dash. It's going to be the prepare option for Anji. Anji reveals a hand of 1, 3, Shitsu, and Iseugi Sai. Should shuffle his hand here, because we know what order these options are in. So really should be shuffling his hand. Does Milia have a slash left to perhaps do an advanced 3 cancel? That's exactly what we see here. Dash, advance 3, cancel. Strike, or strike with the Bad Moon. Bad Moon performs pretty well into the hand. Right, it was 1, 3, Shitsu, and the Ultra, alongside 1 random card. 1 sweep left in the gauge as well. It's going to be Focus. Oh, it's going to be Milia initiating Dive. Okay. So it's going to be Anji spending for armor. So it's 4 total armor off the Focus. Milia dives over, deals 1 damage. Anji draws a card. Milia finds herself in the corner. Surprised not to see the Bad Moon there, actually. Bad Moon performed so well into that hand that Anji had at that moment. But maybe saving Bad Moon for the checkmate instead is Milia. That's now like 10 total of armor built for Anji and so far in this matchup. Just ludicrous amounts of armor. 40 HP character, not bad. Although it is still down life compared to Milia, just because Milia's actually been able to hit way more. Anji has been building armor, but hasn't necessarily been counterattacking too well. It's going to be expenditure of 3 force. Change cards 3, drawing 4. Second big CC for Feathers so far. Really just not liking his hand. Huh. Interesting. I would have thought that the SPD shape performs quite well here. But I think Feathers just chucked that one away as well. Chucked away a Nagiha as well. Interesting. Really choosing to dig for something. What is he digging for? I have no idea what he would be digging for here. Maybe block? I don't know. I actually have no idea. Milia with a whole bunch of gauge. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gauge at the disposal of Milia at this point in time. And maybe going to use some of that gauge as force. It's be expenditure of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, just kidding. 3. No, just kidding. 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Change cards 3, maybe. Draw the rest out of the deck, or maybe get out of the corner. Are the 2 options I see here for Milia. 4. Expenditure of 4 force thus far. Maybe keeping 1 for a cancel. Would make sense to me. Expenditure of 3 force now. Expenditure of 4 force once more. Why did Milia not boost this? Why does Milia not want to get out of the corner? Why does Milia not want to get out of the corner? I don't understand. I feel like Anji is fine in the corner. I don't think Milia is as fine in the corner. In fact, Milia with his hand, like, almost assuredly wants to cross out, get back to Rage 4, where Anji can't do a whole lot besides build armor. A little bit confused by that play. Like, why not just boost Miraz there? But anyway, it's gonna be change cards. What, 4 drawing 5, maybe something along those lines. Still cornered though. It's not like Milia has a card like Talon Sweep, right? Like or a Southpaw or a cross up shape, right? The hit advance 4. So we Parry coming out. Parry's almost guaranteed to be successful, right? Parry's the bad moon. Yeah, and unfortunately that's what happens if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. And unfortunately for Leethus, both despite him having the life lead here, both bad moons gone for 0 value. And this bad moon, unfortunately, was gone for 0 value on reshuffle as well. So only 1 bad moon left in the deck for Milia. As well, Anji does have a bit of a health deficit to overcome. Does not have to deal with bad moon. Or only has to deal with 1 more bad moon. Okay, now we're boosting Miraz. Interesting. Now we're out of the corner. Yeah, I don't, now I'm thoroughly confused why Miraz wasn't boosted earlier. It just seems like a genuine mistake, but it's okay. Happens. Good boost, by the way. Good boost on a card that's somewhat middling. It gives you advantage, but it's on card at range 1, but not really the best looking card, right? Miraz is such a good boost, though. And it's just going to be into a strike. We did see the majority of Milia's hand. They did have a cross in there. Will Anji respond with the grasp, I guess, is the question here. Will Anji respond with the grasp? Anji does have multiple cross catchers. This is not one of them. It's actually second low kick. Second low kick will do no damage. Nagiha will hit back for 3. I am pretty shocked to see low kick played there, but I mean it's a gauge, I guess. But I don't know. Feathers has been spending for 2 armor consistently, so I feel like this card actually just does nothing. But I mean, builds a gauge for both players. Are we really going to see a winger, perhaps? I don't think so. Maybe builds gauge for a card cancel into the other ultra, set up to voices. Maybe that's the purpose of that, of striking with low kick there. And I mean, hey, Anji does use 2 cards there, tier 1, although Anji draws a bunch of cards afterwards, so not really. To be Milia initiate another strike here. Again, cross is still in the hand of Milia. So are we gonna see a coup in response? I don't know. Cross is not unbeatable here. Like, it's a cross / mix-up almost. Spends 2 force, and Wild Swing's a block, does feathers. Milia, of course, crosses out to range 5. That is now, what, 12 effective armor generated for Anji? 12 or 14, if I'm not mistaken. Love 44 HP characters. Looks like both players just prep. Back to Anji here. It's going to be Anji boosting Fuga. Looks at the top card and ends turn. Oh, it takes it back, maybe? And ends turn. Okay. So doesn't want to force a scramble off of whatever this top card is. So just boosts hit add this to gauge with a little bit of extra knowledge. Okay. Knowledge is power, I guess. Nobody, that's the second time Fuga was boosted and Feathers didn't like the Wild Swing to cancel into Scramble. You guys gotta remember, Scramble is not 100% effective. It is not 100% effective. Milia does have an option that hits at range 5. It is the Iron Savior. Is Milia really striking with Iron Savior here, though? I just don't see it. I don't see Iron Savior being struck with here. I feel like this is just bait. I feel like this is bait or slow. Maybe try to force some resources out of Anji. I just don't see this being Iron Savior, though. Yep, and Anji Wild Swing spends 2 force. And yeah, it is bait. It is a sweep. Sweep will go first, miss. Spike will also miss. And yeah, just text the boost. Anji Wild Swings off that as well. But does spend a gauge. Okay, it's going to be a scramble cancel. Strike. Is Milia attacking on armor? Is Anji's not attacking on armor to this? This is the first time Anji's not attacked on armor. Oh no! It's the Iseugi Sai. And it's the dive. Oh no. Milia dives in. And Feathers hits the Iseugi, deals 3 damage, and forces Milia to discard 3 cards. Not at random at least, but forces Milia to discard 3 cards. Wow. 3 damage as well on the board. Although I will say Milia has a whole bunch of force, so it's not the end of the world. Milia has 4 force in her gauge. Not really doing a whole lot with it. So this is not the end of the world, but it's not great. Okay, Millie discards Grasp. 2 more to go. Discards Slash. 1 more to go. And discards the Septum Voices. That's an interesting discard, I will say. The Septum Voices is... Septum Voices is a good card, man. So I'm a little bit shocked to see that one go. Especially with Millie having so much gauge. But it looks like maybe Millie going to be using that gauge to CC instead. If I guess. Otherwise, I don't really see the reason why you drop that Ultra. That's just going to be Leethus preparing. Does not spend any of the 4 gauge that he has. Back to Anji here. This matchup is, this character, man, it's pretty boring. I'll be honest. It's pretty boring, pretty lame stuff here from Feathers. But, hey, he has finally grabbed the life lead. So there's something, I guess. But definitely an uninteresting match thus far between these players. And part of it is just because Milia has not been able to get any bad moon value, which is really unfortunate, but also partially Leethus' fault. Also, like, mostly Leethus' fault, I will say. That he was unable to grab value with the bad moon. Anji with 6 in hand, 7 in deck, post reshuffle. Milia with 4 in hand, 15 in deck, post reshuffle. Although I don't think we're headed towards a deck out. I really hope we're not headed towards a deck out. I really, really, really hope. I don't think we are. For what it's worth. Okay, Feathers looks like he's going to be initiating a strike here. It's an EX strike, even. Does not pop any armor onto it. This is relatively known. I don't know where it is, but it's not Nagiha, it's not Ku, it's not Rin, it's not Shitsu, it's not Sai, it's not Kai. Is this EX slash? If it's EX slash, I don't know why you don't put armor on it. Is it EX? I feel like it's EX slash, no? It is EX slash. I'm surprised that Feathers did not put armor on it. Milia responds with the Iron Savior. So EX slash will go first, will hit for 5. Iron Savior will hit back for 4 after armor and will stun. So there's a sweep effect on there as well. Removes the cross. And then Milia, of course, gets to pick her range with the after, picks range 3. Makes perfect sense with the EX slash down, right? Makes perfect sense there. Will Anji regret not building armor there? Because I'm pretty sure this character has access to +1 power cancel. Yeah, this character has... Like, Milia has access to +1 power cancel. So +1 power cancel Bad Moon wins the game. So will Anji not? Will Anji regret not building armor there? Builds armor every other strike except that one for some reason. Okay, it's just gonna be Anji preparing back to Milia here. Notably, I mean, Milia would need exactly the second copy of Septum Voices and the second copy of Bad Moon. It's possible. Or could also have the second copy of Badass. Or I think the first copy of Badass even, but that would be GG right here, right on the spot. Leethus checks the discard here. I think there's one block left for Anji, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. Gee, Anji parried... No, Anji has no blocks left. Anji parried Bad Moon with his first block and Wild Swung the second block. It's an expenditure of 3 force here. Maybe change cards 3, drawing 4. Okay, change cards 3, drawing 4. Back to Anji here. Don't think you can stay at range 1. Maybe you can initiate a strike, but I don't think you can stay at range 1. Could be somewhat problematic. Luckily, Millie does not have like a draw cancel here. But this could be a little hairy for Anji here. If Anji chooses to pass turn. By a pass turn, I mean not strike. This is game number 2. Game 1 was Feathers Hakumen beating Leethus's Giovanna by playing Ultras and winning the game. Played 3 Ultras on front side, 2 Shippus, each hit for 8 power, and then the other Ultra finishing things off in game 1. But game 2 has been quite a slog thus far, with Anji building 12 effective armor, I believe, over the course of the game. 40, or by effective armor I mean armor that actually blocked damage. I think Anji has had 42 HP this game, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna be badass. Cancel. Reading. Leethus just drew a big hand. And the reading hits. And it's going to be Anji taking game number 2. You guys thought reading was dead? No, reading is still alive. It's season 7, baby. Anji, with the Matsuri Rock Parade, takes game 2 and takes the set 2-0. With the Hakumen first over the Giovanna, and now the Anji over the Milia. Unfortunately for Leethus, Leethus was just unable to get value out of Bad Moon. I think if he got value out of Bad Moon, he would have won. But not meant to be. Feathers with the 2-0 victory moves to 2-0 in the bracket, joining Andrew, I believe. Leethus drops down to 1-1, joining Taketria. But of course, there's still 3 more weeks of Swiss play to happen. I don't know if they're going to be playing Game 3 for fun. So far, everyone has wanted to play Game 3 for fun, but I don't know if these two will. Looks like they're just discussing things. But unfortunately, 42 effective HP was too much for Millie to go through. And of course, you guys thought reading was gone, but reading still ends games in Season 7, courtesy of Anji, right? If they were to play the third match, their third match would be, I believe, Chip versus Nakoruyuki. But I will say, wow, what a slog of a match that was. Just Anji unable to counterattack for lots of the game, but still striking with 3 to 4 armor per strike, so not really taking a whole lot of damage. And then finally builds that life lead towards the end. Able to strike with that EX Assault, and then has the reading on deck as soon as Leethus changes cards. Wait, let's see if they want to play Game 3. I don't know if they would be up for it. By the amount of talking that they're doing, looks like they're not. Because otherwise, I don't know why they'd be talking so much, but maybe. Okay, Leethus is heading out. So that will be the end of the stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. If you are on Twitch, feel free to leave a follow. If you are on YouTube, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. We hit affiliate today, or I guess yesterday. Well, I got the email for it today, so I don't know. I mean, doesn't really matter, but I mean, it's kind of hype, I guess. We have emotes. I don't think we'll be making emotes, but we have the capacity to do cool things with that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Guilty Gear Strive, the board game content, and we'll see you for the next one. Probably tomorrow, I think I'll be casting a game. And maybe if people are playing Friday, I will cast on Friday as well. But until then, guys, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.